Welcome back to the one and only TuneInWithDev Podcast, episode 20. Say it with me, y'all. Episode 20. I can't believe that 20 episodes have been created, edited, compiled, and put out to you guys for y'all to watch, to enjoy, learn, get something from, whatever it is that you may get from this podcast. But for each and every single person that does tune in and watch my podcast, man, I thank y'all. I salute y'all. Thank y'all for taking this ride with me, man. 20 episodes isn't something that's easy to do. Many different topics of each episode and 20 different episodes of that. And man, it's just crazy to even think. I never in my own mind thought I would make it to 20 episodes. There's been plenty of times where I thought I would give up. But hey, I can't give up. Because what would that say to everybody else? And if I'm out here giving up on my dreams? So, without that being said, welcome to episode 20. We got a lot to talk about today. There's a lot of different topics that are going to go, a lot of different things. We're going to be talking about, is alcohol and too much in society nowadays? We're going to be talking about people who go from relationship to relationship and finding their identity in that. And we're going to talk about, it's okay to also be alone. And there's just plenty of other topics that we're going to get into. But if this is your first time watching the podcast on audio, video, listening, whatever it is that you're doing, subscribe, like, comment something that you would want me to hear about, a guest that you would want to see. Anybody that like along those lines, y'all just let me know, because you can always get better doing what you craft. Nobody's ever perfect, so y'all let me know what improvements that I can be made on my end, that I can help better the podcast experience for each and every single person is out there watching. But let's get right into it. The loneliness epidemic. I like to call it the loneliness epidemic because I've seen it in my life, and I've also watched it, and I've seen it from afar. Just many different occasions of what that is. The loneliness epidemic is basically somebody who kind of has their identity wrapped up into a relationship, their happiness wrapped up into a relationship, their purpose wrapped up into a relationship. So they go from relationship to relationship. And I'm pretty sure each and every single one of us knows somebody or has seen it before. If it's on TV, if it's in real life, if it's from afar, from people you work with, people you know, family, friends, whoever. But we all know that the people who go from relationship to relationship, and you kind of have to just sit there and, watch it from afar, just because with that person, they kind of feel like that their identity, their purpose is reliant on another person. And if I'm speaking to you right now, and then that's how you feel, first of all, I'm not going to say that I'm not going to say it's wrong. But what I'm going to say is that you have to first love yourself, and you have to first be happy with who you are before you can pour into somebody else's cup, before you can be with somebody else. If you're not happy with yourself, if you're not in love with yourself, if you're not confident in yourself, and I'm not saying it has to be perfect, because everybody can get into a relationship not being in a perfect scenario. You can learn to gradually get better and better and better. But if you're going from breaking up to getting into another relationship, breaking up, getting into another relationship, talking to this person in a relationship, and it's like a revolving cycle, sometimes you have to look in the mirror and be like, am I missing something? Maybe I need to take a break, relax. I need to find myself. And I know that may sound like cliche or whatever, but there is point and periods and times that a person in their life needs to find themselves before they can give themselves to someone else. Because if you have your happiness, if you have your sadness, if you have your emotions wrapped up and tied into another person, you are no longer, how can I say this? You're no longer able to control them on your own. They're being controlled by somebody else. It's kind of manipulation, but it's manipulation by your own doing, if that makes sense. You're falling on your own sword because you continue to fall into the same pattern of going through the same pattern, relationship after relationship after relationship, after talking after relationship, and they all fail for some reason. It may not be your fault, and you may not be able to see the points of emphasis that the reason that the relationships didn't end. But if you're constantly going from relationship to relationship without first finding yourself and loving yourself, That's something that you have to look inward in. You have to just kind of take a break, take a deep breath, take a year off, man. Find like do things that travel, do things that you love to do. Go play basketball, go to the gym, go get a mani petty. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever it is, go binge watch Love Island games that's on right now. But whatever it is that you love to do, make sure that you set aside time for yourself to find love in yourself and happiness in yourself. And I'm gonna be the first person to tell y'all, for anybody who's graduating college, it's not all it's cracked up to be. Do not rush that experience. If you're in college, if you're in high school about to go to college, enjoy the moments that you have. Being an adult, it may seem cool. You can buy what you want. You got a car, but you have a lot of responsibility. And I'm not saying responsibility is the reason that being an adult isn't as cracked up as it is to be, but everybody had that feeling. And I can say it myself. I know people I know can say it themselves. College is probably one of the best times of your life because it's like you have those adult kind of responsibilities, but you're still in school and you still are not fully out there yet. So you may have an apartment, you may have a little rent here and there, but you're not fully out there yet. So I'm gonna be the real and I'm gonna tell y'all that it's not all it's cracked up to be. Yeah, it's great and all. You can buy whatever you want. You got a nice car, whatever. You're working your job. But coming out of college, especially in this economy, the job field is horrendous. Finding a job in your field that you're graduating with, depending on what field you're in, is probably not gonna happen right out the gate. It's really hard to get a job in your degree path because a lot of jobs want, they don't tell you this, they want experience. And how are you ever supposed to get experience in an entry level job if you're not getting the entry level job with a college degree? It doesn't make sense, but you'll see once you graduate. But there also are like nurses and stuff like that, or whoever, like nurses, those type of specific degrees where like there's always going to be jobs available. But if you're in like psychology, business, all these other type of jobs, a lot of jobs want experience, and that's like what they don't tell you. And finding a job, I'm not gonna say it's impossible, but it's very hard. And there's a lot of different people out here who can tell you that their first job out of college probably wasn't in their field, or it was kind of parallel to their field, but it wasn't directly in their field. But just a piece of advice that I can give you, I would say to get as much experience as you can while you're still in college with the type of job that you want, and continue to push on that path that you want to go to. Don't let anybody direct you down a different path that you don't want to go. If you want to be in business, stay in business. If you want to be a barber, stay in barber. If you want to be a nurse, stay in a nurse. If you want to be a lawyer, doctor, stay that path. You can do it. You can do anything you put your mind to. Don't let nobody tell you that. But what I'm here to tell you is just be ready for that shift to an adulthood of bills, children, um, plenty of there's plenty of other stuff, but you get what I'm trying to say. Is basically there's a lot of opportunity to let yourself down, and you most likely are going to let yourself down at some point, and that's not what I'm trying to preach here. Is how you can get past that and keep going and get through that rough patch straight out of college. And to not totally change the whole entire topic of the whole entire podcast, but as a question for y'all, do y'all notice that alcohol is so heavily involved in our generation that it's like consumed in everyday activities? You go golfing, you're gonna drink. You go bowling, you're gonna drink. The people who go play basketball, you're gonna drink. I've seen people who drink and go to the gym, or smoke and go to the gym, but it's alcohol, period. It can be a child's birthday, it could be your birthday, it could be a anniversary, wedding, what else? Baby shower, gender reveal, and just everything is so revolved and consumed around alcohol that I think that's like one of like the leading like things in our generation of we have a lot of people, like alcohol is so normalized in our generation, and then from like the 94s to like the 2000s, the alcohol is just such like a heavy priority in our lives, and I feel like that has like such a hold on us. We really don't even understand, but if you do start to notice, I would just say kind of cut down on it because you never know what that can do to you. That can mess up your liver, kidneys, there's anything like that. Just make sure you're drinking water. If you are gonna drink some water, eat some food. And I'm not trying to sit here and be like the health nut or whatever. I drink alcohol myself. I consume alcohol, so I'm not a perfect person. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that I don't. I do, and I kind of see that I will go up from here down here down here, and it's just like I can kind of see the differences that it has in your body as far as if you want to progress in the gym. On top of eating bad, because drinking always ends up you eating bad food. So that's primarily why you shouldn't drink if you're trying to be in a healthy lifestyle or consume a lot of alcohol. But just watch your alcohol intake. Be careful with it. Never drink and drive. Never drink and drive. Be responsible, man. Be responsible. That's all I had to say. I just want to get that off. Get that off. And now let's get into some therapy, some therapy, some therapy, some therapy. I'm going to walk y'all through my first experience of my first session in therapy and how I was able to come about to it. So, with my job, there's a thing called the EAP program. I forgot what EAP directly stands for, but if you have an EAP program as your job, a lot of times you can be referred to a therapist and you can have the first like couple sessions for free. So if you do, I would highly recommend you trying that because I think personally that I believe that everyone should attempt therapy at least 5 times just to see if they like it. At least give it 5 times. And if you don't, then you can say you tried. But a lot of times we get so wrapped up into I'll do that. I'll do therapy. I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it. And you're busy. You're never gonna be not busy. That's one thing in life that people will never tell you is you'll never not be busy. There's always gonna be something. There's always gonna be some excuse. There's always gonna be some reason why you can't do something. You have to be able to maneuver around that. You have to be able to plan around that and still schedule it because mental health is important and it's a very important to your psyche, to your brain, to your, just your mental being and as a human to other people. And it's like, I highly recommend going to therapy. So I did the EAP program. What is it called? Then you basically go through like a list of many, 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 many therapists that are in your region, in your city. I did that. You can see like what type of therapist, what they specialize in, and stuff like that. So you basically go online and you look up your therapist and you schedule your appointment. So when you go to your first appointment is kind of walking in. I was skeptical. I was like, man, this ain't gonna work, man. It's whatever. Like, but I knew to myself that I needed to change. I needed to be better because I just felt like I was just being too complacent to myself, my partner, my family, my friends. And I felt like therapy, and I feel like this is like a form of therapy for me, talking to the camera, talking to people, being able to express my opinions, express my beliefs. And I feel like this is like a really good thing for me. I'm a lot more talkative, a lot more outgoing now. Um, but coming into therapy, everybody has the doubts, but it's weird. It's a weird thing because it's like I don't think that I would do good with like a serious, serious like therapist that sits there and is like I'm talking about like with the pen and the pad. I mean, he has one of those, but my therapist, it's a male, and I don't know, he's like cool. He's like a cool therapist. He's like that teacher that like the coach that's a teacher, and you like you're on the sports team of that coach. I don't know. It's kind of weird. So it's like I have like a good relationship with my therapist. So coming in, I can already like just talking to him the way he communicated with me. It was kind of like on my level of my like, and he's not super old, so we were able to connect like that. And I just respected him from the first day, and I've learned a lot since being in therapy, and that's one thing that I can attribute to my outgoingness, my emotional boundaries, my emotional intelligence, my compassion, anything that I have now, I contribute that all to therapy because it's just like working on myself and being a better person, not only for me, but for my fiance, for my dog, for my family, for my friends, for people I work with, just anybody out in the world, just random people, acts of kindness. I attribute that all to therapy. I attribute that to just working on to become a better person. So going into therapy, I had the session is hour long. It's just kind of like a meet and greet, kind of explain what you want to talk about originally. What do you want to get to eventually? And things like that. It's very easy. It's very easy to do. Like I said, it was free for the first like 5 times, but now I pay like $25 each time I go, which is really isn't anything. You spend $25 on food a day. So if you can spend $25 to become a better person, why not? But man, what's crazy is today is what, September 24th? We have 10 days until my wedding, which is next week. I was blown away. I did not know the wedding was coming this close. I want to give a shout out to Jazz, my fiance, my loving fiance. I can't wait to marry her. I love her, appreciate her. Um, and, just kind of document day by day of, leading up to the wedding. I'm usually not a nervous person, but I get nervous once it gets closer. But once it happens, I'm not usually nervous, but just want to give that shout out. So let me see. Probably next time that y'all see me, either be right before the wedding or right after the wedding, and I'll be a married man. So, ladies, I'm taken, but no, no, it's fine. I am, but I appreciate y'all for tuning in, man. I appreciate y'all. Episode 20 wasn't very long. I try not to make these episodes long just because it is myself, especially just being myself. I know a lot of people don't want to hear one person talk for a long period of time because you kind of tune out and it's not that engaging, but I do appreciate each and every person that does stick around and watch the whole entire episode of the podcast. I thank y'all. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Man, thank y'all. Subscribe. Share it to somebody who may need it. You can look up the episodes, the title of them. You can kind of see what it's about. You can send it to somebody like a family member, friends, family, kids, significant others, partners, dogs, whoever, playing in the background while you're working out. But I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all. Peace.